All right. We are back with our part 3, creating a faux wall. In part 0, if you haven't checked that out yet, we showed you the vision for this office and everything that we want to do. We had to sell everything. And in part 1, I showed you the door on the other side to close off where the kitchen is. This part, we get to show you how we built this wall over here to extend a little bit so that we can put in these awesome custom French doors. Now, the whole reason for building the wall out is because the right side of the wall looking towards the front of the house is smaller significantly than the left side. And because I wanted to put in built-in bookshelves and a cabinet below, I wanted it to look more symmetrical than it was. So the first step was literally YouTubing how to build a faux wall and seeing that it really wasn't that difficult. We did not need to pay somebody a lot of money to do it. So first steps first, we needed to take out the floor piece. We measured that the wall needed to come out about 13 inches, and so we marked on boards how tall that piece needed to be and how far out. Now, if these 2x4s are actually like 1.5 inches, our measurement on this needed to be about 11.5 to make our full measurement to 13. I had some old 2x4 scrap pieces for this. We did get a new 2x4 for that tall piece. Now, why I'm in a dress, it was probably a Sunday afternoon and I didn't feel like changing, and I was also bare feet. So use your safety precautions and probably put on shoes, but I at least had eye protection and ear protection. Now, into the wall right there is just a 2x4 and other framing, and so you just need to drill it right in. If you want to Craig jig it, it'll probably work easier, but if you just want to screw it in, nobody's going to see it, so you can do that too. All right, so we got our pieces of wood in, and now we move on to the drywall. Drywall is actually surprisingly easy to cut. So we used our 4-foot level to create a straight line going down it, and just use that X-Acto knife to cut straight down. You turn it over, you pop it, so it just kind of like breaks in the middle, and then you can run your X-Acto knife or whatever you're using down the other side seam, and it breaks off super easy. You do need to make sure that you are measuring for one full length of the wall inside the fit, and then the full length of the other wall. Now, because we're putting a door there, we actually didn't need the little strip down the middle, and so we just have 2 pieces that are almost identical in length and height, and we just popped those on. We used wood screws from the top to the bottom to make sure they went into the 2x4. We actually ended up using a third 2x4 that's in the middle of the wall to provide more support and make sure the board wasn't bowing out. We used mesh tape, which was really recommended for not professionals, and then started the mudding process over it. You want to make sure that you give it a little bit of space at the bottom of the drywall. So make sure you put a little spacer under there just to keep it off completely from the floor. Your next step is mudding. This is the 10-inch putty knife that you want to use. You don't want to use a smaller one like I did at first because it actually doesn't spread it around very well and it doesn't spread it wide enough. So this right here is not wide enough. I had to go back later with a couple more layers because it didn't smooth it out enough or put enough product on, and so the wall was not very flat. After the first layer, I sanded it down with my Surf Prep sander, so it really helped with the dust. And then I went through and I did a second and possibly a third layer in some spots, but this is as wide as you want it. You want it wide around those seams so that when you sand it, you are going to get smooth, you're not going to get any variation in it, it's not going to be one big hump over where the tape is, and so it's all going to be spread out, spread nicely, and then you're going to sand it smooth. Now we used vinyl spackling to mud. You can find it at Lowe's or Home Depot. And you can see the start of our bookshelf build right there, which make sure that you're subscribed because in a future video that's coming soon, we will show you how that we built those shelves out of 125-year-old barnwood. So yes, in this video, there is a lot of sanding, but that's what you need to know about drywall. Like it does need a lot of sanding. And when I say a lot, like I was at this for a while and changed out papers, but the Surf Prep, I'm telling you, is the way to go. This sander sucks up all the dust into your shop vac while you're doing it. And so I didn't have to worry about covering up a lot of stuff because it wasn't getting dusty, which is the biggest thing with drywall dust. Now, when we were done, we made sure that the wall was the majority level. So it's not perfect, but the paint's gonna cover it up. It's gonna be fine. But I haven't painted it yet because I wanted to make sure before the door came that it was good to go. Now, when our doors came in, we did have to make some adjustments to this wall, and I'll explain how we did it. So the door came in, it was 1/4 inch too wide. I totally messed up on the measurements. These doors were custom made, and so I had to change the wall, which I was super bummed because I had already mudded it and everything. But what we figured out was we could just unscrew the 2x4. We found the screws with a hacksaw going down the wall. We hacksawed those off, or we unscrewed them if we could get to it. And then we took the 2x4 and we planed it. So we planed 1/4 inch off, and then we were able to screw it back on, and it was level and it was perfect, and the doors fit beautifully. And here's a sneak peek of them. So I'll give you a lot more of that in our future videos. Thank you guys so much for joining today. Drop me a comment below. Let us know what you think. We're here to answer any questions. And of course, we are not professionals. Please make sure you have all your safety equipment. And stay tuned for more.